we're going for it. We're going for it. It's in. Hi guys, welcome back to Cash Machine Cars. The aim of the game with this channel is to buy cars with the amount of money you can withdraw from a cash machine. Granted, it completely depends on how many bank accounts you have. I picked this Porsche Boxster up for around £700, and in the first video I managed to get it running. It's been outside with no windscreen, no roof on it for around 12 years. It's an absolute state, but it now runs. We've cleaned up the interior in the last video. It looked like a complete swamp in there, but it's almost coming back to how it should be. And I think in this video we're going to get this thing roadworthy, and to get it roadworthy it needs a lot of work. So the first thing we need to do is put the windscreen in this car. I've now got one in the back of the van. I did go up to a breaker's yard to pick them up and I managed to break two in the process, but we've now got one. It should be alright. It's got a tiny little chip in it, but I think it's fine. Need to wire in these headlights. The car underneath is about 12 years older than these headlights, so that's going to be quite a matching up of wiring. Also, a couple more things we need to do. The alternator isn't working. I've got a little light on the dashboard telling me that the alternator is not working. It could just be a wiring issue, or it could be a belt issue, or the alternator is broken itself. Get the access panel out behind the seats. That's why they're not bolted in at the moment, so we can get to that. And basically give this thing a whole system check over, because I haven't really checked any of the electronics because I can't, because the alternator is not working. But horn, wipers, windscreen washer, there's so many things to get this thing road legal. But let's start with the windscreen. Alright, so in order to fit the new windscreen, we need to remove all of this old residue from previous bonding that was on here. It's this black sort of strip here. They've done quite a good job at removing it, but get a razor blade in here and we'll slice all of this off. And I imagine there's probably some residue left on the new windscreen. I've got that in the back of the van. Let's go get that out and check how bad that is too. Here's the windscreen. Managed to get it from SW Race Car Hire. It's got a tiny little chip in it here. I'm hoping that I can actually, if I get it on, I can probably get Auto Glass to come and seal that up, but it looks pretty good. Yeah, so on the back of this it's got all the residue as well, just like the window frame. Gonna have to get a razor blade in here and cut all of this out and make it as flat as possible, and then we can prime it ready for the new sealant. I also picked these up from a tool station. I think they're about £9 each. They're for normally putting in your windows in your house, but I'm thinking they should fit alright. I think they're mainly made for flat windows, but it's the best I've got, so I'm going to give that a go. Right, probably that way I reckon. I've only got a few razor blades. Alright, so that's the sealant all off of the edge of the windscreen. There's a lot of sealant on there. Next thing is to prime the surface for the new sealant to go on. You use one of these little cotton swabs, and I've just got this beta prime. You can use any sort of glass primer stuff, and then run a nice thin bead of sealant either on the glass or on the car. I'm not sure what to do yet. I'll look up what's the best thing to do, because believe it or not, I've never done this before. Run a thin bit of this and a thin bit of this on the car, and then stick it in. Again, another bead of this, but you can see the old stuff on here. We've sort of scraped it back sort of enough, so let's get a line on there. This is... Can't see it. Dynatrol. Glass replacement windscreen adhesive. Assume it'll work. It does what it says. It's really thick stuff. I think maybe I should have heated it up. It's actually quite nice because I'm an absolute freak. Trust that. I don't trust that at all. Are you sure? Yeah. Right, try and go from the top. Get this down. Yeah. We're going for it. Going for it. It's in. This way. Come this way. Down a bit. Alright, so that's the glass in. I think it's going to be well sealed. Tape's just holding it to stop it from drooping down. There's a little beading that's supposed to go around the edge, so I've sort of hope I've left enough of a gap for that. I'm going to leave this overnight to set, and fingers crossed in the morning that should be solid and not going anywhere. Alright, I just want to take a quick second just to say a massive thank you to everyone watching the channel and subscribing. It really means a lot to me, and if you want to see projects like this and things get restored, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to make a really big effort this year to push as much content as I can. I do have a full-time job, unfortunately, so I can only really get evenings and weekends up here. I would love for this to be a full-time thing. I've actually set up a channel memberships. If you want to help out and ever make this dream become a reality, I would really appreciate that, like, more than anything. But yeah, if you love the channel and you want to see old cars get fixed, please subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. Can you call it a Porsche? Okay, so that is the windscreen in, and it's completely glued in, rock solid. Very happy with that. I've left a little gap around the edge, which I think is where this trim piece goes in. It's down there. That goes in around there. That shouldn't be too hard to get in. Then we've got to put this little plastic insert in the bottom, and it also is going to need some wipers, which I've got somewhere, and the mirror. I've got a little stick-on one for now, but one thing which you guys have probably noticed, which is really annoying, is I should have done this screw up before I put the windscreen in. I could probably get a ratchet on it, I think, just about. It's just very close to the windscreen. Anyway, that's really not important compared to the rest of the things going on with this car. Next thing, I want to get these headlights wired in. So the headlights are way more modern than the car. The car's 1999, I think, and the headlights, I think, of 2010 or 2012. So the plugs don't match up. I'll get to that in a minute. Before I can get any of these lights working, or any of the lights on the whole car working, I need to find out why the car isn't charging. So when I start it up, there's a red light on for the alternator saying that the car's not charging. That's why I haven't bolted the seats in, because there's a little access panel just here. Good access to the alternator and stuff, and I need to see what's going on there. Measure the voltage coming out of it. If it's not working, put a new one in. But yeah, let's get the car outside again and check that. Alright, so the car's now outside. I did film it driving out, but for some reason my camera turned and just filmed that door. But yeah, so the car's outside now, and to get to the alternator we need to remove this access panel here. Shouldn't be too hard. Let's take the seats out and we'll get in there. Okay, so the alternator is just underneath this intake plenum here. You can about see it there, you can see it better over here. It's that one there. And when I start the engine, it's spinning up, so it's obviously spinning fine. I think the most common fault with these is a regulator, which is in the back of the alternator. So I think to get to that, we have to remove this intake plenum, which looks like that Jubilee clip there, and quite a few little bolts down here. Shouldn't be too hard. Let's get that off and we'll get better access. Okay, with that intake plenum off, you can just see how long this thing's been outside. There's so much crud built up underneath there. Loads of old, crispy old packets of things, and it's a lot of corrosion. We're going to get the hoover in there, clean all that out, because I don't want any of that to go down into the pistons. But here's the access to the alternator now, much better. Let's clean this up first. Alright, so this is the regulator that goes in here. Some of the connections on here are extremely corroded, especially things like this one here and this one here. So, and the terminal in there is also quite corroded. What I'm going to try and do is actually clean this up and then put it back and see if that actually makes a difference, because it wasn't too hard to get this alternator out. It probably only took me about an hour. So I don't know how much one of those is. I probably should look that up first, but I'm just going to try, because I have to get the car basically back in the garage, and in order to do that I have to start it, and in order to start it I need this on here. So I'll put this back together, and if it doesn't work I'll order one of these, or I'll order just the whole thing, because it looks quite corroded all over. It's been outside for ages with no lid on it. So yeah, let's clean all this up, put it back together and see if it makes a difference. I don't think this has fixed it. I think the light's still on, and yeah, still not getting 12 volts out of it. Like, should be about 14. Right, turn it off. I think we're going to have to order a new alternator. It could just be a wiring issue. Just chuck a new alternator in it to be safe. Then we know that that's not going to be an issue, and then work from there. You basically work from one end back. I don't want to start delving into all of the wiring to then find it's just the alternator that's broken. It wasn't too hard to get out of there. It's about an hour and a half's worth of work, and the alternator I think is about £100. It's not massively expensive, but things are adding up. Okay, so I've been at this for some time. So this is a wiring diagram for a 2000 Boxster, which is basically the same as the one I've got here. This is a wiring diagram. It says for a 2007 Porsche Cayman. which is the same as what these headlights are from. I think these are actually from a later one, but the plug is the same. So I've been studying. This is the headlight I'm looking at here. This is a headlight, but each one of these is a headlight unit. This is a headlight unit. It's just a case of matching up what wires need to go where. I have bought the right plugs for this. So at the moment I've got these all plugged in here on this light, and those very, very dodgy looking wires coming out of there. But I'm making some progress, so this should work now. This should be just main headlights, main beam. That's main beam. Then this should be high beam. And then we should have indicator as well. So that's everything in that unit working the way it should. Also the flash works. They're still waiting on the harnesses for these lights, but that is them wired in. Everything seems to be working. Indicators, hazards. I'm pretty impressed with this. This has been quite a big step. We've got that and the windscreen in. That's pretty crucial stuff. Let's see what we've got there. So the back is a bit of a mess, a bit like the rest of the car. It's so green and mouldy in here. God knows how long this thing didn't have a boot lid on it. But here are the light clusters. The inside of them, there's one here and there's one this side. So they are my rear lights. Let's go turn the side lights on and see. I've also just noticed this boot light is on as well. I'm surprised any of these lights work, but yeah, let's turn these on. Oh wow, so okay, we've got side lights, as you can see them. So I don't know what else all the other bulbs are in here. I must have reverse lights, brake lights, fog lights, indicators. Yeah, okay, well let's turn the indicators on and see what happens. Can't believe that both of those are working as well, which means the indicators probably work. Right, next thing is to test the brake light. Okay, so it looks like this brake light isn't working. It's just, or is it this one? Oh, I think it might be this one. Yeah. And this one is definitely blown. You can see in there. Yeah, that's definitely blown. Let's get that replaced. Not a great bulb, that. Oh, it's fine. Right, so that works. Next final thing, I think, is reverse and fog. I don't think there's... Just check the fog light situation. Okay, so that's the fog light. That works. I don't know if it's two fog lights or not. It'll be this one and this one. Oh, no, there is. It's just a bad connection. Okay, that's the fog lights. They work. Need to clean up some of these connections. Okay, let's try the reverse lights, and that should be it. And that's the reverse light. There should be another one over here, maybe. This one? That one looks okay. This is actually, there you go. That's come unclipped, I think. That should work then, huh? There you go. So that's all of the lights working. I only have changed one bulb, which is actually incredible. I just can't believe any of this works. Let's get them into the housings. I do think the indicators need to be orange bulbs. Apart from that, everything else should be fine. Let's get it all together, and then that's the backlights done as well. Okay, so it turns out these rear lights actually have LEDs in them, which attach, by the looks of it, just the same as a bulb in each side. So I'm going to try and put these LED ones in. If not, I think I have got the original ones. But yeah, let's try and get these in. Okay, so that is all of the lights in the clusters working. They need a good clean, but even the LED ones are working. Hoping that when I just filmed that, the brake lights were working. I think they were. So that's all of that sorted. But yeah, they're all wired in. Front ones are all working. That one, I still cannot find a base for that one. I think the only place I can find one is if I buy a whole wing. Like, no one sells just this plastic base to hold this light in. It's really hard to find for some reason. But yeah, Pretty happy with all that. The windscreen's in, everything's looking nice-ish. And unfortunately, I'm still waiting on an alternator. It's been almost over a week now and it still hasn't arrived.
Several days later.
Right, and here should be the new alternator. I won't film putting it on because you've already seen me take the old one on and off. It's the same process, but I'm just going to put this new one on. I think this was only 80 quid, which is ridiculously cheap. So fingers crossed it works. New alternator in the car. I think this is all fixed. Let's turn the key. No warning lights, apart from obviously the handbrake, which you can turn off. And the rear wing light is on. I'm not sure why that is, but don't think that's important. But yeah, it's now charging, chucking out 14 volts to the battery. Sounds nice and quiet. The engine runs really smoothly in this. Can't believe how well it runs. Okay, so this is going to be the maiden voyage in the Porsche. We're not going to go far. I'm not going to take on the road because it's still missing quite a lot of bits. We're just going to go basically up the end of the drive here, turn around and come back. I haven't even seen if this thing gets second gear or anything. This will be the first time this Porsche is probably driven in around 10 years. It's been quite a lot of work to get it to this stage, but fingers crossed I don't break down. Let's go. Going. First gear, second gear. As first test drives go on a new project, that's one of the best I've ever had. Usually something pretty major goes wrong, something massive that I've overlooked. But yeah, no overheating, nothing, runs perfectly. Couldn't really get more than second gear out of it because of the just because of the road and how bumpy it is and how sort of thin these tyres, and I don't want to damage anything. We've got that door's not even done up, so I just don't want to break anything. Yeah, it's really nice car to drive. There's no weird noises, no knocks, no bangs. Brakes feel good. Hopefully they'll start to come back. You can sort of see they're starting to come back, but I've only gone about 2 feet. I reckon if I went down the road, they might clear up quite well. I'm pretty happy with that. I did accidentally, I don't know if you noticed, clout my door with the corner of the car. The car's absolutely fine. There's not even a mark on the car, but somehow, I mean, it's been a long time coming for this door. It's pretty rotten, but I'll have to fix that at some point. That's probably going to be it for this video. This has been a lot of work getting this to this stage. I'm sorry it took so long for this video to come out. It's I moved house in the middle of it and lots of other things have been happening. Got a lot of projects on the way, lots of interesting things. And this is looking like it's going to be on the road. In the next video, we've got a lot of work to do, but I think we're going to get this for its first road test to the MOT station. I'm thinking of just putting the normal back and a normal roof on it just for the test, and then putting this back on, because I don't want to leave it at the MOT station without a roof on it, because I can't have a roof and this at the moment, and that is something we will solve at some point. But right now it would just be nicer to have the roof and the back on it, just so I can make sure it doesn't get any wetter than it already has. But yeah, I really appreciate all you guys watching, and if you ever if you want to join the channel memberships and help support this channel, I'll appreciate that more than anything. Going to be doing like a bit of extra sort of updates, and you can contact me there a lot easier, and we can actually chat and suggest things on new projects and stuff, so that would be absolutely great. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.